You're tuned into the Tech Vet. In today's episode, I'm breaking down how some of these cybersecurity programs seduce us veterans for our GI Bill benefits. Let's dig in. All right, so I have a unique perspective about this topic because I was in cybersecurity when I was on active duty. I have a cybersecurity master's degree. I have cybersecurity certifications. I used to run an IT training school and I used to help people get cybersecurity certifications. And when I was running an IT training school, one thing I found out is there are a lot of institutions out there that entice veterans to use their cybersecurity benefits for their cybersecurity programs. The biggest trend I saw was veterans were using their GI Bill benefits for a degree or a certification in cybersecurity, thinking that they were gonna get high-paying jobs when they finished that program, only to find out that when they started going on interviews, they were only being offered entry-level jobs. Let me explain why this is happening. Some of these programs have very, very intriguing marketing campaigns. You've seen it on Instagram or your favorite social media platform when a flyer pops up and says, "Become a cybersecurity professional in 24 weeks." Now, these kind of catchphrases can lure veterans in because, especially if we're newly transitioning service members, right? Because when we're on our way out of the military, our minds are a mess. We're in chaos, right? We're trying to figure this whole transition back into the civilian world out, right? And when we see a message like that, right, it's like, okay, cool. This can be an easy button. One of the easy buttons to this whole civilian life thing we know nothing about, right? But these statements are misleading because they feed into the instant gratification of our culture that we live in today. And the vet could see these marketing campaigns and say, hey, all I need is this 24-week cybersecurity program and I'm in the game, baby. Now, see, what they don't tell you is you can get in the game. You can get paid once you complete these programs. It can happen, but you're most likely going to be starting at an entry-level position. That's what they don't tell you. Another problem with these get qualified quick statements, right, is they don't even tell you what type of cyber professional you will be. The flyer will say, be a cyber professional in 24 weeks. What kind, right? That's just like if it said, be a medical professional in 24 weeks. What kind of medical professional? A doctor, medical administrator, billing coder, a nurse? What kind? That's something you need to look at. What type of cyber professional are they preparing you to be? Another problem with these type of marketing campaigns is that they perpetuate the misconception of certifications and degrees, right? I see far too often that people will go into these type of programs thinking that, hey, once I get this credential, I'm in there. And not necessarily. All those credentials show us that you can meet the minimum requirements to be awarded said credential, right? This is one thing to consider about the degree programs. I already had 18 years of experience before I went for my cybersecurity degree, and I didn't learn anything new technically. But since it was a master's program, it did kind of help me learn how to apply my technical expertise in the business world, right? It bridged the gap so that I can see the business value of the technical skills, right? Beyond that, I didn't really learn anything new outside of the business side of the house, right? With that being said, right, after going through a cybersecurity degree myself and working in the industry, I really don't see the logic in going to school for a cybersecurity degree first before you go get the experience, because at the end of the day, experience is king. Those employers, they want someone that can do the job. So I want you to think about that. So what exactly does it mean to be a professional in any specific industry anyway? Let's head over to Merriam-Webster to get that answer. According to Merriam-Webster, a professional is characterized by or conforming to the technical or ethical standard of a profession. So basically, someone who really knows what they're doing. Here's another definition, and I guarantee this is the one that those education institutions are leaning on. Check this one out. A professional is someone engaged in a craft and is receiving financial return. Okay, I'll give it to the education institutions on this one, because basically it's saying A professional is anyone getting paid for what they do, right? Okay. And you can probably get paid once you complete one of these cybersecurity programs. But again, you're starting out entry level unless you already have experience like I did when I went to get my cybersecurity degree. I already had 18 years of experience, right? So my expectations for salary, right, was completely different than what someone should be expecting if they're just, all they have is that credential, right? So definitely think about that one. And that's slick too. That's what I would have done. I mean, because if you question it, well, by definition, hey, you're getting paid for it. You're a professional. But us veterans, that's not what we're thinking about, and that's not what we're expecting when we get into these programs. And then we use up all of our GI Bill, right? Caution you on that one, right? Let's revisit the first definition I read to you. A professional is characterized by or conforming to the technical or ethical standard of a profession, i.e., an expert in their craft, someone who knows what they're doing. In his book, The Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell argues that it takes roughly 10,000 hours of practice to become an expert in a particular field, aka to become a professional. So let's use Mr. Gladwell's argument as a baseline and do some math, right? Okay, let's do some math. If you take a program for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 24 weeks, you will complete 960 hours of training. Let that one sink in. I'll let that one marinate, right? So if Mr. Gladwell was saying it takes 10,000 hours to become a professional in anything, 960 hours is nowhere near 10,000 hours. Even if you get the best hands-on training, I'm not trusting you with the security of my network. That's just not gonna happen, right? You are not touching my network thinking you're securing it without additional hands-on training, right? And herein lies the disconnect as far as salary expectations, right? Because if you finished a short-term program thinking that you're about to get paid top dollar and you truly still don't know what you're doing, I'm not leaving you alone to try to secure my network. You need more training, man. But I will be willing to let you come on in an entry-level position and get supervised training to get that 10,000 hours you need to become a professional, because with just 960 hours of training, you know enough to come in and let the hackers in, and now we got to call the FBI because we became victims of a cyber attack. I want all my tech hiring managers to chime in. Let me know if you think otherwise. Let me know what y'all think. Chime in and let these folks know what you're expecting when you're looking for a cybersecurity professional. And let me know if you disagree. Our GI Bill benefits is what some people call that for show money. The VA will pay for our tuition as long as we meet the minimum requirements of the program. So this is easy money for the sales teams that are recruiting veterans for their programs. I'm not against my fellow veterans using their GI Bills, for cybersecurity education, but I am against the lack of transparency that some of these marketing campaigns have, because they are not keeping it real with us and giving us realistic expectations. They're just trying to get us in these classes so they can get our benefits, Here are a couple of tips to do your due diligence to validate the claims of these cybersecurity programs. Ask to see their employment rate. If their programs really work, their graduates are getting hired, and they'll be more than happy to share it, right? I know I would. When I was running the IT training school, I'm letting you know what companies are hiring our students and that our students are being successful. Speaking of that, ask for a list of their employer partners. If their programs are so good, they should have some employer partners. They should be able to tell you right now what companies are hiring our students. If the school can't provide you that information, then proceed with caution. Here's a more realistic roadmap to cybersecurity success. Think back to when you first came into the military, right? When you went into your MOS or FSC, you got sent to AIT or tech school. Then you got to your first duty station and you had to do additional OJT before you were qualified to do the specific task of your role, right? The rules don't change when you get out. It takes time, right? It takes time to become a professional. It took you time to become a professional airman or soldier or sailor or guardian in whatever jobs you had on active duty, right? So don't think that there's any exceptions to the rule when you get out. It will take time. Yes, you do need to do training, but then you'll also need the civilian equivalent of OJT and additional upskilling training to be qualified in the roles that you want by being a cybersecurity professional. So don't underestimate that. You did it before and you will have to do it again, especially if cyber wasn't your MOS or AFSC on active duty. Now here's a big one too. So this requires some homework. I'm giving you homework. I am giving you homework. Go research the cybersecurity jobs you want and then reverse engineer them, right? Look at the skills that they're asking for. And then if you are considering a cybersecurity program, research the curriculum and match them up. That curriculum of that program should teach the skills and knowledge you need for that job posting that you saw, right? And do not, I repeat, do not fall for the allure of shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to success. Be willing to put that work in. So wrapping things up, don't let these cybersecurity programs sell you a dream with these unrealistic expectations. Be willing to put that 10,000 hours in to become a cybersecurity professional or any kind of professional if you decide cybersecurity is not for you. And remember, there are no shortcuts to success at all. Be diligent and protective with your GI Bill benefits because they trying to get them, man. And once the money is spent, they got their money and you still out there on the struggle bus trying to figure this cybersecurity game out, right? Be careful and watch out for that. Come back to this video and use these tips that I gave you. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. If you got any value from this, please like, share, and subscribe, and cheers to your success.